In the early 2000s, a teenage girl from Barbados named Rihanna Fenty stepped into a world far bigger than the island she called home. Born in 1988 in St. Michael, Rihanna grew up in a modest household, her life shaped by the rhythms of Caribbean culture and the challenges of a fractured family. Her father's struggles with addiction and her parents' divorce left marks, but music became her escape. Singing in school, mimicking Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, she dreamed of a stage beyond the sandy shores of Barbados. At 15, her voice caught the ear of American producer Evan Rogers, who saw star potential in her raw talent. By 2005, Rihanna was in New York, signing with Def Jam Records under Jay-Z's watchful eye. The world was about to meet a pop icon. Her debut single, Pon de Replay, dropped that same year, a dancehall-infused banger that lit up charts and introduced her as a fresh face in pop. At 17, she was a whirlwind of charisma, her Bajan accent and effortless cool setting her apart. Her first album, Music of the Sun, was a modest hit, but it was 2006's A Girl Like Me that hinted at her staying power, with hits like SOS and Unfaithful showcasing her vocal range and emotional depth. Rihanna wasn't just a one-hit wonder. She was a force, hungry to prove herself. By 2007, Good Girl Gone Bad cemented her as a global superstar. Tracks like Umbrella with Jay-Z and Don't Stop the Music dominated airwaves, blending pop, R&B, and dance into a sound that felt unstoppable. She was 19, and the world was hers. But fame came with shadows. In 2009, her relationship with Chris Brown turned into a tabloid nightmare when he assaulted her, leaving physical and emotional scars. The incident, splashed across headlines, could have derailed her. Instead, Rihanna channeled the pain into her art. Her 2009 album Rated R was darker, edgier, with tracks like Russian Roulette, revealing a raw vulnerability. She didn't shy away from the spotlight. She owned it, transforming trauma into power. Fans and critics alike were captivated by her resilience, and albums like Loud, 2010, and Talk That Talk, 2011, kept her at the top, with hits like Only Girl in the World and We Found Love defining an era of pop music. Even as she churned out chart toppers, Rihanna's ambitions stretched beyond music. She dabbled in acting, starring in films like Battleship, 2012, and launched fashion collaborations that hinted at her entrepreneurial instincts. By the time Unapologetic dropped in 2012, earning her a Grammy for Diamonds, she was more than a singer. She was a cultural influencer, her style and attitude shaping trends worldwide. Yet, beneath the glitz, she was laying the groundwork for something bigger. In 2015, as she worked on her 8th album, Anti, whispers of a new venture began to surface. Rihanna wasn't just chasing hits anymore. She was dreaming of an empire. Little did the world know, Fenty was about to change everything. By 2015, Rihanna was at the peak of her powers, a global icon whose every move sparked headlines. Her music career, built on a string of hit albums, had made her a household name, but she was restless. The pop machine, churning out albums, tours, and red carpet appearances, was starting to feel like a cage. She wanted more than chart toppers. She wanted to redefine what it meant to be Rihanna. Her 8th album, Anti, released in January 2016, was a bold declaration of that shift. It wasn't just an album. It was a rebellion against expectations, a sonic middle finger to the industry's demand for predictable bangers. Anti was unlike anything she'd done before. Gone were the glossy pop hooks of Loud or Unapologetic. In their place were raw, genre-bending tracks like Work with Drake, Needed Me, and Love on the Brain, blending R&B, dancehall, and soul with an unpolished edge. The album's rollout was chaotic, a leaked release, cryptic social media posts, but it worked. Anti debuted at number 1, earning critical acclaim for its fearless authenticity. Fans embraced it as Rihanna's most personal project yet, a window into her soul. At 27, she was no longer the Barbados teenager chasing fame. She was an artist claiming her narrative. But Anti was more than a musical milestone. It was the moment Rihanna's ambitions began to outgrow the studio. Even as she toured the album, selling out arenas worldwide, her mind was elsewhere. She'd always had a knack for branding, from her iconic fashion choices to her savvy endorsements. In 2015, She'd inked a deal with Puma, serving as creative director for their Fenty line, designing sneakers and athleisure that flew off shelves. The collaboration wasn't just a cash grab, it was a testing ground. Rihanna was learning the ropes of business, studying consumer behavior, and honing her vision for something bigger. The seeds of Fenty were sprouting, even if the world didn't see it yet. Her personal life was evolving too. After the Chris Brown scandal, Rihanna kept her romantic life private, but by 2016, rumors swirled about her and A$AP Rocky, a rapper and style icon whose Harlem swagger matched her vibe. Their chemistry, first as collaborators, then as friends, hinted at something deeper, though they played it cool for years. Meanwhile, Rihanna was becoming a cultural force beyond music. Her red carpet looks, from Met Gala gowns to streetwear, set trends. She was a chameleon, effortlessly blending high fashion with accessibility. When she announced Fenty Beauty in 2017, it felt like a natural extension of her influence. The world wasn't ready for how she'd shake things up. Fenty Beauty launched with a seismic impact, offering 40 foundation shades that catered to every skin tone, a direct challenge to an industry that had long ignored diversity. Rihanna wasn't just selling makeup. She was rewriting the rules, proving that inclusion was profitable. The brand's success was immediate, grossing $100 million in its first 40 days. As Rihanna poured her energy into Fenty, music began to take a back seat. Fans noticed the shift, but they didn't yet grasp its weight. Anti was a triumph, but it was also a turning point. Rihanna was building an empire, and the stage was no longer her only spotlight. By 2017, Rihanna was no longer just a pop star. She was a visionary reshaping industries. Fenty Beauty's launch had sent shockwaves through the cosmetics world, proving that inclusivity wasn't just a buzzword. It was a goldmine. The brand's 40-shade foundation range, a bold middle finger to the beauty industry's narrow standards, became its calling card. Stores couldn't keep products on shelves, and social media exploded with fans praising Rihanna for making them feel seen. By 2018, Fenty Beauty was raking in over $500 million annually, a number that made even her music royalties look modest. Rihanna wasn't just playing the game, she was rewriting the rules. She didn't stop at makeup. In 2018, she launched Savage X Fenty, a lingerie line that doubled down on her commitment to diversity. Offering sizes from XS to 4X and featuring models of all backgrounds, the brand was a celebration of real bodies. Its debut fashion show, a gritty, theatrical spectacle, felt more like a cultural event than a product launch. Rihanna wasn't just selling bras and panties. She was selling confidence, rebellion, and inclusivity. The internet went wild, and Savage X Fenty quickly carved out a space in a market dominated by giants like Victoria's Secret. By 2019, the brand was valued at hundreds of millions, and Rihanna's empire was growing faster than anyone could have predicted. But with every business triumph, her music seemed to slip further away. Fans who'd been riding high on anti-success were growing impatient. Rihanna had teased a new album, nicknamed R9 by her Navy fanbase, as early as 2017, dropping hints in interviews and on social media. "I'm working on it," she'd say with a sly grin, but the years ticked by with no release. Studio snippets surfaced, and collaborators like Pharrell and The Dream fueled speculation, but nothing materialized. Some fans theorized she was too busy building her empire. Others wondered if anti had been her final word. Rihanna's responses were vague, playful even, like she was in on a secret the world wasn't ready for. "Music is coming," she'd tease, but her focus was clearly elsewhere. Her personal life added another layer of intrigue. By 2018, her bond with A$AP Rocky was deepening, though they kept it low-key. Their shared love for fashion and music made them a power couple in the making, but Rihanna wasn't rushing to define it. She was also navigating the pressures of fame, wealth, and her Barbados roots. She became more vocal about social issues, from racial justice to women's empowerment, using her platform to amplify causes she cared about. In 2017, she launched the Clara Lionel Foundation, funding education and climate resilience in underserved communities. Rihanna was no longer just an entertainer. She was a philanthropist, a businesswoman, a cultural force. As Fenty Beauty and Savage X Fenty soared, the music industry felt her absence like a void. Pop needed her unpredictable edge, her ability to shift culture with a single track. Yet Rihanna seemed content to let the world wait. She was building something bigger, an empire that didn't rely on radio play or tour schedules. By 2019, as she graced magazine covers and inked deals with luxury giant LVMH for a Fenty fashion line, one thing was clear. Rihanna wasn't abandoning music, she was redefining success on her own terms. Rihanna's life in the mid-2020s was a masterclass in reinvention, a high-wire act balancing fame, family, and a burgeoning business empire. The world watched, captivated, as she transformed from a chart-topping pop star into a mogul whose influence stretched far beyond music. Her Fenty ventures, Fenty Beauty, Savage X Fenty, and whispers of new projects, had redefined her legacy, but the absence of a new album left fans restless, fueling speculation about whether she'd ever return to the studio. By 2025, Rihanna's pivot to entrepreneurship wasn't just a side hustle. It was a seismic shift that reshaped her identity and left the music industry in a state of suspended anticipation. Fenty Beauty, launched in 2017, had become a cultural juggernaut. Its inclusive approach, offering 40-plus foundation shades at launch, disrupted the cosmetics industry, forcing competitors to rethink their playbooks. By 2025, the brand was valued at over $3 billion, a testament to Rihanna's knack for spotting gaps in the market. She wasn't just selling makeup. She was selling empowerment, confidence, and representation. Her hands-on approach, testing products, shaping marketing campaigns, made Fenty Beauty feel personal, like an extension of her own charisma. Industry insiders marveled at her ability to blend authenticity with business acumen, a rare alchemy that turned her into a billionaire by her mid-30s. Savage X Fenty, her lingerie line, was equally transformative. What started as a bold venture into inclusive fashion had grown into a global brand celebrated for its size diversity and unapologetic celebration of all bodies. The annual Savage X Fenty fashion shows, streamed to millions, were less about lingerie and more about spectacle. Think Met Gala meets Coachella, with Rihanna as the visionary curator. By 2025, the brand had expanded into activewear and loungewear, each launch accompanied by her signature flair for disruption. She wasn't just building businesses, she was building movements. Yet, for all her success, the question lingered. Where was the music? Her last album, Anti, dropped in 2016, a raw, genre-defying masterpiece that still resonated nearly a decade later. Fans clung to every hint of a new project, cryptic tweets, studio selfies, A$AP Rocky's vague teases about new heat. But years passed, and the promised R9 album remained a mirage. Some speculated she was too consumed by her empire to create. Others believed she was waiting for the perfect moment to redefine music again. Rihanna herself stayed coy, dropping hints in interviews that only deepened the mystery. "Music is still my first love," she'd say, "but I'm not rushing it." Fans weren't buying the patience act, they